Thank you, Jamie. An Ohio couple wanted to do something special to mark their new status as empty nesters, so they snapped this pic of them holding a bird's nest with a sign, "Empty Nest, August 2018," after their youngest child left for college. Well, of course, the photo quickly went viral. Vicki Piper said they'd celebrated so many milestones in their kids' lives, they wanted to celebrate one of their own. But here's the catch. Many couples struggle with the empty nest. They suddenly realize they spent 2 decades focusing on the kids and not on their marriage. So how do you turn that train around? How do you keep your marriage healthy and intact before you get to this point? That's the question. And joining us this morning with some expert advice is our good friend, author, pastor Derek Triplett. Great to have you.
Good to see you, Derek. Always good to have you. Come in.
This is not an uncommon problem.
No.
This happens a lot, right?
It happens a lot because a lot of times people don't focus on their marriage once they become parents. A lot of marriages have been sacrificed on the altar of parenting. And so it's important to remember that you're a couple. Last time I checked, couple is 2. No matter how many kids you got, not 3, 4, 5, you got to take that time, carve out that time to be a couple. And a lot of times we're dealing with professional advancement and parenting, and that your spouse is just the person on the ride with you. And when the kids are gone, it's like, who are you?
Yeah. So what could we do then to kind of stay intentional with our spouses? Because I know for me personally, my kids are all over the place, right? They've got activities and this and that. And I feel like our job as a parent is to nurture them into the adults that we want them to be.
Absolutely.
And so how do we make sure, though, that we're nurturing our marriage into the marriage that we want it to be?
Well, part of nurturing your children into the adults you want them to be is to show them the importance of family and to show them the importance of marriage. In many cases, you just got to, it's time. You got to carve out that time. Sometimes you may have to say no to your child in order to say yes to your spouse. And we've got to realize with all of the multiple things that we do, you're not going to be great at everything every day. So you got to choose the times, hey, I need to be a great spouse today and maybe an average mom or dad.
And oftentimes what happens, Derek, and I know you see this a lot, is that the kids go off to college and then mom and dad are sort of coexisting, right?
Like,
and they're not talking about the elephant in the room, which is...
And maybe the pain and hurt and feeling...
Why do we feel so off right now, right?
It's important to talk. So kids go off to college, the last one is gone, we're in this house together. Let's have a conversation. Let's discuss our feelings. Let's discuss our fears. Hey, this is a little nerve-wracking for me. And let's discuss what we look forward to. So you can't assume with your spouse. One spouse is thinking, this is going to happen when the kids are gone. Another spouse is thinking, this is going to happen. Let's discuss it. Let's talk about it. If it's not talked about, then you're making assumptions.
All right, so Derek, confession here.
Okay.
I tell my kids all the time, when you leave, I'm going with you. Wherever you go, I'm going with you. And what happens is I laugh about it, but it does, even the thought of it makes me nauseous. Do you know what I mean?
I get it.
Yeah.
I get it. I've been through it several times, but that's because sometimes parenting is easier than being a spouse. And in many cases, it can be more gratifying than being a spouse.
What do you mean by that?
Because the kids, I love you, Mom, and thank you, Mom, and all of that.
That is
true. It's a vertical relationship. The spousal relationship is a horizontal relationship. We've got to give, we've got to sacrifice, we've got to that. So I sacrifice to take my kid to football practice all the time. My gratification is to see him make that touchdown, and I'm good. You don't have the same high with being a spouse. It's sacrifice, it's commitment, it's togetherness. So you got to talk about it. You got to talk about it, and when you discuss it, be very, very honest. But then you've got to do something else. You've got to act on it. Make some plans. Make some plans. Not just, oh, wow, what are we going to do? No, make some plans, and don't be afraid of the awkwardness. See, a lot of times when we're awkward with our spouse, it's like, oh, something's wrong with our marriage. No, the fact that the children are not there anymore is going to unveil and reveal some weaknesses in the relationship. Face those weaknesses head on and deal with them. And if need be, go get some help. You and your spouse may need to go see a therapist for a couple of sessions. Hey, help us with this adjustment. Help us with this. And it's the same thing that happens when a baby comes in. You got to make that adjustment. So don't be afraid and don't hide from it. Otherwise, you then end up punishing the kids because they come home and they look at the distance and they feel the distance and they see it, and it's not healthy for them.
You're amazing.
Yeah, always does such a good job.
We have the best advice.
Always
Always with the best
be here.
advice.
We appreciate you, Derek. Thank you so much.